Megyn Kelly was a guest with Piers Morgan on his podcast, Uncensored. And I want to share what Megyn said with you for a couple of minutes because her comments evoked a very passionate response from my audience earlier today. And I have a hunch that my buddy Mark Davis will have an equally passionate reply. Hit it.
This has been a disaster for the Trump administration and for our country and for the world. I mean, the global fuel supply, just take a look at the numbers. You've got American, European airlines, Middle East airlines now completely revamping their forecast for this year. We reported this morning that American Airlines had projected a $4 billion profit expected this year. It's all been wiped out. They said the entire thing has been wiped out by the rising price of jet fuel. Spirit Airlines just went over here in America. They were already struggling for years, but this didn't help. And all of that's going to eventually get passed on to the consumer. So, and that's just one example. That's airline fuel. I mean, forget prices at the actual gas pump and the cost of oil in general, which tends to skyrocket energy and other prices. All of that's coming even if we end the war today. So my best advice to the president would be give the Iranians the deal they want. They seem to be willing to deal on the Strait of Hormuz, which, of course, is an absurd place to be. It was open before this war. If we had just left them alone, we would never have this problem. But give them a deal to get that thing back open because it does need to open back up.
All right. I give you Mark Davis, unleashed, unfiltered, unbridled. Go ahead. Go.
Is this the theme of our opening week of finding these malcontents and naysayers and analyzing? If so, that's okay, because it certainly is a part of the ongoing parade. I was taking notes while she was talking, which means I got a lot of notes. But I'll be brief. I'll be brief with all of them.
Take your time.
The anti-Semitic tropes were Israel is causing a lot of wreckage. Beirut looks like Gaza. Yeah, they're at war with Beirut. Germany looked like Gaza. Japan looked like Gaza when we were at war with them. Trump was goaded into it by Israel. Once again, the evil Jews are able to lure even the strong-minded. These are huge anti-Semitic tropes. Not calling her one. Don't know. She's comfortable with those index cards. I'll let you ask her. If the strait was open before we started the war, yes, they were. The strait was open, and Iran was indeed close to something nuclear that did disturb the intel people. She said that the intel people knew that they weren't close to a nuke before we went in. That is the exact opposite of what Trump and Rubio and Hegseth all said. And ultimately, just to tie a big bow around it, then I'll give it back to you. Just go away, just get out. In fact, the last part I'll say is about human nature. If you don't like the fact that we're at war, and she doesn't, you'll find a way to negatively spin everything. If you do support the fact that we are at war, as I do, as you do, you will take a look at things differently. The 450 gas, it's a I almost want to say the B word, which I know I could do.
You can say it on the podcast. It's the podcast.
I'll warm myself up. I'll warm myself up to that because I don't want to disappoint anybody. I know that's hard. I know
it's a bear. It's a bear. How about that?
It's a bear. It's a beast. Here's another B word. I'm blessed. I ain't eating dog food because of gas prices. But it's a price I'm willing to pay in order to have a non-nuclear Iran. I'm willing to deliver this message to a dangerous theocracy that has been a threat to us for nearly 50 years. So I do support the war. So I'm willing to absorb these things and endure these things for at least a little while. The people who are steadfastly against the war they have no patience for it, no use for it. And so they're going to spin everything negatively. Not everything she said is wrong. Not everything she said is baseless. And she's totally entitled to her opinion.
But for millions and millions of people, and I've spoken to them, and I've taken calls from people who say, this is, somebody called me the other day. I drive for a living. I am struggling. I'm having to ask if I can buy groceries or if I can fill up the tank. I have a big SUV as part of my job, and I deliver things. And so I always have to check myself and say, well, is the fact that it's not a burden on me because of the blessed life that God has given me, is it fair to say, yeah, but everybody else needs to suck it up too? I loved your question, and I asked it on the show repeatedly. All right, if you have the choice between $3 a gallon gas
Yep.
or Iran with a nuclear weapon, what would you choose? Now, a surprising amount of people say, I want both. And I think that's what Trump intends to do. Trump
Yes,
intends
we'll
to
get there.
We're going to
will
get there. We got to hang in there. The only thing I would differ with you to some degree, everything you said there in your response to Megyn, to me, was just so pitch perfect. I would only ask this question. You used the phrase anti-Semitic tropes.
Here we go.
Now that to me is problematic because I have to ask you specifically to explain if you are critical of Israel's role with regards to our foreign policy.
Right.
If you believe, and I don't, incidentally, but let me play devil's advocate.
I know.
If you believe that Israel has an outsized role in American foreign policy, is that an anti-Semitic trope?
No. Suggesting that the Jews have this mojo that they are able to sprinkle into Trump's brain to make him do things that he otherwise would know are against America's interest.
But she didn't say that.
That's exactly what she said.
No,
she said, I paraphrased a little, but she said the verb she used, he was goaded. Does anybody goad Trump into anything?
You're right.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.